Hello everyone, welcome back to the Odds Now YouTube channel, where today we're going to be talking boxing. I'm delighted to be joined by our resident combat expert, Max Boosey, who's hopefully going to steer us in the direction of some winners for what is a massive night of boxing on Saturday night. Top of the bill is the rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. and Connor Benn. The first fight certainly delivered. It was a 12-round epic. That one was won by Eubank Jr. And you can see the odds for all the fights going along the bottom of your screen, but without giving too much away. Eubank Jr., a narrow favourite to get another win in this one, but I know for a fact that Max might be going against the grain with that fight. So, Max, good to have you on board for this one, and we're going to run through the card. But just firstly, that first fight between Eubank Jr. and Benn was a great contest.
Lived up to the hype, mate, I thought. Yeah, it was a tough one for me. I was on a cruise at the time, and I had to watch it on my phone, and I didn't get to enjoy it as much as I would have wished I did. But yeah, it was unreal. I think, and I don't see a world where this one don't live up to it again. Like, you know, both tested each other's chins, both stood up to it.
I must say, it does just look like two good match fighters, doesn't it? It looks like it'll deliver again. And yeah, obviously we're going to come on to that main event, but we just want to whiz through the undercard. I know there's a couple of bets in from the undercard as well.
Let's whiz through it.
Let's start with Richard Riakporhe's fight, if you like. There is a fight at the very start of the card where the favourite is 1-33, so I think we can skim past that one.
We'll leave that one.
Yeah, but Richard Riakporhe is in action. Then that'll be a household name for a lot of people. He's fighting Tommy Welsh in this heavyweight clash. How do you see that one going?
Yeah, I'm just going to skim through a lot of these fights because I think it's one-sided. I think Riakporhe wins by KO. I'm going to do a one-unit accumulator across all the fights, and that'll be the first one, Richard Riakporhe by KO.
Okay, so fairly straightforward on that one then. There are some more interesting fights on the card, and I know you've got a bet in this one. Ishmael Davis versus Sam Gilley. Ishmael Davis a 1-3 favourite against Gilley, who's just under 3-1. Tell us what you're thinking about this one.
Yeah, tying this in with boxing now, we've got relationships with both of these fighters. A lot more Ishmael Davis. Followed them around for the majority of their careers. Ishmael's mixed it at a higher level. Definitely been in fights where you would say, like, he fought Sergey Bokacek on the Riyadh season card. Definitely outgunned in that fight, but showed up, made a good account of himself on short notice. And I think he's learned from a lot of these fights, you know, the Josh Kelly fight, etc., etc. So Sam Gilley is obviously, he hasn't fought at that level. I think he gets hit way too easy at the level below, and Ishmael can punch. So that's my first bet sort of wrapped up there, is that I think Ishmael's going to be able to land punches, and he hits it very, very hard. And I think that, yeah, Ishmael Davis will knock him out.
Okay, quite a nice price on that as well. 11-8 with 365 on the Ishmael Davis knockout in that one.
Yeah, Sam Gilley can't help but get into a war, and he's outgunned in this one, in my opinion. So
it's going to be an all-action one. There might be one for people to make sure they tune in early for. Some of these undercards can be a bit weak at the start.
Definitely, it's my favourite fight on the undercard.
Okay. Big endorsement from Max for this one then, and he's going to be backing Ishmael Davis to get the job done via stoppage at 11-8 with Bet365. Well, Adam Azim is in action. He's a very strong favourite, as he often is. He's fighting Kurt Scoby, who is a 15-2 underdog to cause the upset. But this looks straightforward for Azim on paper. Max, is that how you're seeing it as well?
Yeah, if you look at Scoby's record, it's padded. It's really padded, and he's been knocked out on that record. So, you know, I always think about him Azim as a youngster coming through, but he's got, like, he come on the scene probably 3-4 years ago now, and he's definitely come along, and he's not as young as we all think he is anymore. He's obviously under Shane McGuigan and getting them rounds in the gym, etc., etc. Yeah, I think he knocks him out. I think, keep that one simple again, like the Riakporhe fight, I think.
Okay, shorter price there. But
that'll be included in the one-unit accumulator as well, along with Ishmael Davis.
Okay, so quite a strong endorsement then for Adam Azim. He is a big favourite, of course, but back in the stoppage. More backable 4-7 than the 1-9 on the outright line. Okay, well, before we go on to the main event, there is a very intriguing fight and tightly priced fight between Jack Catterall, who is the 4-7 favourite, but Essuman definitely not out of the question here at 15-8. How do you see this match? Because this is actually speaking to a decent boxing judge earlier in the week, and he was making a good case for Essuman. Do you think the upset is plausible?
I struggle to think he's going to beat Jack. I think Jack lacks work rate, and Essuman has a high work rate, so I see him nicking rounds. So I definitely see it from that perspective that he can bank rounds against Jack. I think, so obviously with the Boxing Now business tied into odds now, I've heard and I've seen interviews with our team that Jack took it personally about how boring his last fight was. And he does want to come forward and, and throw more punches and put on more of a show, especially on this stage. But he's never really done it when he said he's going to do it before. So I think he has to go through the gears once he's got his feet in the fight. Jack's a good operator. He's a quality operator. I thought he could have beat Arnold Barboza in that fight if his work rate was a bit higher, which means he's only lost to Josh Taylor. And if you look at the names on his record, he's definitely mixed it at a very high level. I don't love this fight, in all honesty, for a bet. It's one where I'd sort of maybe steer away from, but I do want to put something out there. So I'm just going to go with Jack, just on the money line, just outright to win the fight, and I would include it in the 1 unit accumulator.
Okay, so not enough conviction to put it up as a single.
It's a hard one
lean towards Catterall.
Get your head around. It's going to be one of them fights until the fight starts. I think we'll all go, yeah, that's how we thought it would play out. But I can't really see it being anything other than a boring Jack Catterall win right now. We have a few rounds of where Echo's coming forward, but not really landing anything clean, just a high work rate. I think if you want to put a bit of get a bit more better odds, I'd go Jack Catterall on points. But yeah, I think
not with any confidence.
I would steer away from if I could.
Okay, well, we'll always advise no bet. If it's the best bet, we'll skip over that one then. And that leaves us with just the main event and the fight that everybody is looking forward to and talking about. And everyone kind of has an opinion on this one, don't they? Because the first fight, yes, Eubank got the win. Benn certainly finished the stronger. Mm-hmm. There's a lot made of the rehydration clause and the age of Eubank as well, certainly at the back end of his career and, possible retirement after this fight. Who knows? But it's split in opinion. Tell us how you're seeing it and how you're playing it from a betting perspective.
So, I was talking to my friend yesterday he's not even a boxing fan, but he'll watch one fight a year. And this was his fight. He's going to watch 2 fights this year, both of these fights. I chatted to him for about half an hour about it, and you can make a very good case for both fighters. I think there's the old saying in boxing that the rematch often goes the same way but quicker. So if you look at that, then you'd potentially look at Chris Eubank to stop Connor Benn if you go off that metric. But I actually think it's a lot closer to a 50-50. And the odds are quite close, but there is a favourite and there is an underdog. I think I draw the line right at this is a 50-50 fight. I think going into the first fight, we all asked the question, how much would the weight play a factor in the fight? And it wasn't Eubank manking the weight. It was how much his size and being so much bigger than Connor Benn would play a difference in the fight. And it did. We saw it. After about 8 rounds, Eubank started using his weight, using his size, started to lean on Connor, started to walk forward and started to bank them rounds. Before that, I thought it was all Connor Benn. I thought the scorecards were right, and I thought Eubank did win off work rate, but I thought Connor Benn, the early rounds, was a much sharper fighter, looked more likely to do damage than Eubank Jr. And a couple of times it looked like he really hurt him, I thought, especially in the 3rd round, and there was a couple of big shots even late in the fight that looked like they did have an effect on Eubank, but Eubank is a hard bastard. I think we can say that. I think a lesser man would have lost that fight 100%. I think Connor Benn is going to come into this fight with a different mindset. He spoke about it. I don't think he's quote unquote trying to take off Eubank's head this time. I think he's going to take 10, 15% off them punches, which is going to help the gas tank over the stretch. I think the first 2 rounds of the fight last time, Connor Benn looked like a deer in the headlights, I thought he didn't settle quickly at all. And there was even Eddie Hearn came out and said how nervous he was before the fight. He's been there and done it now. He knows what to expect. So I think he's going to settle immediately. And I think if he puts them first 2 rounds in the bank, this fight, if he puts the first 2 rounds in the bank last time, this fight is basically a pick-em. So I think he's going to settle much quicker. I think he's going to take a bit more off his punches, which might also lead to him landing a bigger shot because he ain't forcing it. But I think he's going to have the ability to put rounds in the bank early. And I wouldn't be surprised if we go into 10th round, like we're going into the 11th round after 10, and Eubank needs a stoppage on the pundits at ringside's cards. So and I can make an argument for Eubank as well. Again, he's going to use his size. He figured out Connor Benn towards the back end of that fight. He started to lean on him. He started to walk him down, and it started to work. I think if that was a 15-round fight, which it isn't, and you can't say what if, but I think he might have stopped Connor Benn for a few more rounds. He was starting to land some big punches. But again, it's a 12-round fight, and I think Connor will be fresher down the stretch this time. So I really do make it a 50-50, and because of that, I've got to lean towards Connor Benn with the better price. And yeah, I wouldn't mess around with knockout lines or on points or anything. I think there's one other point I haven't made is how much. The question is this time going into the fight, like it was last time, is how much Chris's weight's going to play a part. We know what part that played now. The big question this time is how much making that weight again, just a short period after putting yourself through that, is going to take out of you. How much did that fight before, when his hardest fight of Eubank's career by far, is that going to take out of him again? So, and he is old. I think he's 36 now. And you get to that point in your career where you get old overnight. And a fight like that could have done it to Chris. So I think the answers now have got to be answered by Chris, not Connor. I think Connor's going to be a better version of himself going into this fight. And if Chris isn't, even if Chris is the same version, it's a 50-50. But if he's regressed a little bit, this fight's wide open for Connor Benn, I think. So there, that's where I'm going to go for that. I'm going to go Connor Benn. I shouldn't be saying this, but I'm going to say it, and it's going to get me in trouble. One of our interviewers for Boxing Now, and if you watch boxing, you'll be able to put your pieces together of who this is quite easy. There's a sparring partner who sparred both fighters in this camp. And off camera, he was very on camera. Yeah, I think it's a 50-50. They're both looking good. Off camera, he said Connor Benn stops him early. So that's the little bit of juice I have as well there. But I think
a bit of exclusive insight. You're not getting that anywhere else.
I heard that last time though from another fighter, but he wasn't in the camp with both of them, and he said that he thinks Connor stops him early. He's looking good, but yeah, I'm definitely swinging towards Connor Benn this time. I think the smart money and your smart head potentially goes on the repeats. We've already seen it happen, but I do think there's more factors in this fight than it was the last one.
Yeah, I think you make a very decent case for backing the outsider here. And anyone who watched that first fight, there wasn't lots between them, was there? And the obvious line that I would take on this is similar to what you said here about the ages. Eubank questions as to whether he can maintain the level, or we see regression, whereas Benn, you would expect he's learned a lot from that fight. He's the younger man, still developing. And yeah, I can't really disagree with you there. So Max is going to go for Connor Benn to beat Chris Eubank and make it 1-1. That's 6-4 with AK Bets and BetMGM here in the UK. I'm sure it'll be a similar price wherever you are as well. It's very tightly priced fight. Okay, just to recap then, your best bets, Max. So you've put 3 official bets up as single.
Yep, I'm going to go 5 units on each of them. Okay.
Connor Benn to beat Eubank Jr., which is 6-4. Ishmael Davis by KO, which is 11-8. And Adam Azim by KO at 4-7. If you were just putting a small accumulator together, would those 3 legs feature on it, I'm presuming?
Yeah, so I'm going to put a 1-unit accumulator together with them 3 legs. I'm going to add Richard Riakporhe in by KO. And there was another fight in there. Jack Catterall on just outright.
Okay. Oh, well, plenty to go at then if you are looking for a wager on the boxing tomorrow night. Do make sure you hit subscribe to Odds Now. And also check out Boxing Now if you don't already, our official boxing channel where we have access to some of the best fighters in the planet. And yeah, loads of fight week content on there as well. We've got reporters ringside tomorrow night as well. So it's going to be a cracking occasion. Max, thanks very much for your time. Hopefully you've put up some winners for the viewers, and we'll be back again to preview more sports betting events very soon. Thanks for watching.